I have to say, the more time I spend in this car, the more I'm getting to like it. It has some quite unusual features which really are not commonly shared in the automotive industry, and I'm starting to think it's a shame. First thing I'm going to pick up on is, being a Saab, this cockpit here it's got like an aircraft feel to it. It's almost like you're in a little Cessna. Now that's actually quite appealing. Right, we're going to do a 0 to 60 test. 3, 2, 1. Roads are wet. Front wheel drive. It's struggling there. Now it does have a turbo on it, this car, and I'm more aware of the turbo when I'm driving at higher speeds as opposed to accelerating from a standstill. When you're going down the motorway 60-70 miles an hour, if you accelerate then it seems to have more power, which makes sense, I suppose, and more mid-range torque. Now the first thing I noticed about this car is it's a lot lower than one would first assume. Getting in and out of the car can be quite an issue. But once you're in the car, great driving position. As I say, it has this cockpit feel. Everything is very aircrafty about this. It's very aeronautical, and I suppose it's not surprising really coming from Saab, seeing as what they do or did. The instrument cluster here, very easily to read this. There's no obstruction from the steering wheel. It's basic, it's clear, very easy to assimilate. You've got a turbo dial here as well. Everything here is face on. Very simple, very basic. And you don't have the turn dials for the heating, etc, etc, which I personally prefer. But everything is elementary, it is laid out very simply. It's right there. It's a pretty good setup, to be fair. Now the gears, automatic gearbox on this one. The rear vision is fine, there's no problems there. The side mirrors are a good size, but I think they're a little bit low and they could be a bit higher. Steering on this is a little bit dodgy. The car's done 65,000 miles and there's quite a bit of lag there in the steering wheel. I mean, look, at the end of the day that could be down to warm bushes, but at 65,000 miles I think it's unlikely. So the steering is not fantastic. If you give the car a bit of a shake, you do have a bit of a wiggle, a bit of a roll going on there, which I don't like. At the end of the day, this is a low car. It's a cabriolet. It's got a sporty feel to it. So why have rolling suspension? It should be a bit firmer. The actual steering itself, well, I don't know. I think that's a bit of an issue for me personally. The brakes not bad at all. Maybe a little bit grabby if anything, but being a front wheel drive, it ruins the driving aesthetics of this vehicle because it doesn't really feel like a driver's car when it's front wheel drive. The interior of the car is a little bit plasticky, and I know obviously the weight's got to be kept down with the car, but there are alternatives, you know, and you have good and bad plastic, and the plastic is a bit gnarly in places. Not too bad on the dashboard, but I think manufacturers really need to get away from this shiny plastic thing. Well, I think all in all this is not a bad car. It does have a bit of a feminine approach to it, I have to say, but it's quite a good fun to drive. But there are improvements that need to be made. If I was going to buy this car, I'd certainly have a look at the steering, maybe upgrade the brakes, and I'd look at getting a bigger engine. I think the engine in this car is a little bit undersized. But all in all, it's not a bad car. It's not badly put together. It does have the same sort of build quality standard as, I'd say, maybe a Japanese vehicle like a Nissan or something similar. So the build quality is not like German cars, but we quite like it. And if it was a rear wheel drive, it would be a lot more popular. Fortunately it's front wheel drive, and because of that I wouldn't buy one.